Hey guys, what's going on? It's xdeadlysmoorex here, and welcome to part 2 of our Dragon Age Inquisition Let's Play. In the last episode, we created and started the journey of Selena, the Dalish elf mage, and as you can see, she looks a bit different from what she did in the end of the last episode. And the reason for that is when I loaded the save back up again, Selena already had the Staff of the Dragon on her back. So I thought, well, might as well just put her in what she's going to be wearing for a majority of the, well, for like when we're in the hinterlands, that being one of the spoils of the Canary, the Atam Sar, which, yes, it is like Canary gear, but I feel like it kind of suits an Elven Inquisitor. Or like an Elven Inquisitor, which is who will be eventually, or a title eventually. But yeah, it suits an Elven character in this game. So in this episode, we're just going to be going to the Chantry to talk to Cassandra, and we're going to be exploring Haven. So let's get into it. Just turn up. There we go. There we go.
That's her. That's the Herald of Andraste. They said when she came out of the Fade, Andraste herself was watching over her. Hush.
Yeah, so Selena's new title is... Let me read this real quick. No. We got a new song, which is cool. So yeah, Selena's new title is the Herald of Andraste. And Andraste is basically... Or Andraste, or Andrastian is like the religion... Or Andrastian is the person who worships Andraste. And Andraste is basically like a prophet kind of person. Best way to quickly summarize it, and no, I am not getting it. It's a religion, and that's about as far as I'm putting it. Because I'm not opening up that can of worms. That's too much.
The elf failed.
Yeah, Chancellor Roderick's still slandering us, because I think it's, if you're not a human, he doesn't say the, because if you're a human he says the prisoner failed, whereas if you're like elf, canary or dwarf, he goes, like as you just said with Selena, the elf failed, or if you're a canary, the canary failed, or if you're a dwarf, the dwarf failed. So it's like, doesn't call us the prisoner, he just says whatever race you are, unless you're human, where he says the prisoner.
I want her prepared for travel to the capital for trial.
Disregard that and leave us.
I mean, if you're a Templar, who are you gonna listen to? Chancellor Roderick, who basically has zero power, apart from the fact he's a member of the Chantry, kind of, or
I did everything I could to close the breach.
Or Cassandra, who's a Seeker, who basically has power over the Templars, kind of, and looks far more intimidating than Chancellor Roderick does. I love that tone where she says, have a care, Chancellor, where it's like, you say one more slanderous word about her and I'm going to kill you, or viciously harm you.
Or have allies who yet live.
I am a suspect?
You do look very suspicious.
And many others.
But not the prisoner.
I heard the voices in the temple. The divine called to her.
Were you there, Chancellor Roderick? No.
That thing on her hand? All a coincidence.
Then shut up.
Providence. The Maker sent her to us in our darkest hour.
Are you sure about that?
You really think your Maker would send someone like me? The Maker does as he wills.
So, I will say this now, before we get further and further into this game, because this is going to be a long game. I reckon it'll be more parts than our first completed Let's Play, which was the first Treasure Called Steel game. If that was 95 episodes, this could easily, I can see this being over 100 episodes. Easily being over 100. Because not only are we doing the base game, we're also doing the Descent, Jaws of Hakon, and Trespasser. So that's 3 DLCs, each of them like dead of decent size. I mean, I haven't beaten Jaws of Hakon, I've beaten the Descent and Trespasser, and oh boy, the Descent's final boss is, or the Descent's boss, like at the end, is so annoying.
We have no leader, no numbers.
But getting back onto what I was going to say, later on in the game, so like from basically part 2, because we're in part 2, we're basically in part 1 now. The only, like, I guess, controversial, like, the only, like, big decision you make is, do you side with the mages or the Templars? I'll tell you this now, I'm siding with the mages, I often do, though, I used to side with the Templars, just because, when I first played this game, I knew nothing about the world, and the mission for the Templars was right available for I'll just do that to progress further through the game. Not knowing like all the whole consequences and stuff like that. I was new to Dragon Age, so that's that. I do actually, if we're talking about, if we're taking like whole context out of the like what's happened to the mages and what the Templars did do to some of the mages and all the stuff that's happened between mages and Templars. If we're just looking at missions as a whole, I actually like the Templars mission a lot more than I like the mages mission. But there's it's more to this game. There's a lot more to Dragon Age than just, oh, what mission are you gonna do? Like,
the Inquisition can only protect you if you are with us.
So yeah, but the Templars have a really cool mission. It's a nice, unique thing around it. I like it.
This has not changed you.
Yeah.
If you're truly trying to restore order,
then, but part 2 is when I'll probably make some more, I guess, lack of a better term, controversial decisions. There are a few things that I do in my canon that people will necessarily not agree with, and that's perfectly understandable. Because not everyone's going to agree with what I do and who I romance and all that stuff, all the choices I make. No one's going to not everyone's going to 100% agree with what I do. So just be forewarned, there are some controversial decisions in the second half that I will be doing, and if they do like infuriate you on why I've done this and all that stuff, then I do apologise, but at the end of the day, it's my Let's Play, this is my canon. So I do ask when those decisions do happen to not be too harsh in the comments. But yeah, there's that. What else is there? Trying to think of other stuff now. So yeah, now Cassandra's basically made the Inquisition, because at this moment it's not, I'm trying to think of a word to describe it, because we're not official, because the Inquisition was officially was supposed to be officially declared by the Divine, which is like the head of the Chantry, head of the church basically, head of the religion, and since she's dead, Cassandra was her right hand and Liliana was her left hand, so they both declared it born. I do apologise for the lag issues. I am playing this on PS4 and sometimes it does occasionally lag, but not like a lot. So I'm trying to think of a way to describe what we are. I was going to say militia, but we're not that. Maybe? That might be the best way to describe it, actually. Probably is actually the best way to describe it. It's sort of a militia, I guess. Put me back in my atoms. There no, that's weapons. There we go. Right. We're going to do the short quest, well, the small quest of Haven's Best and Brightest first, and then we're going to talk to Varric and Solus.
Master Harry said that with...
if you're here to clean, Hess can get you a bucket and a broom. Anyone calls you knife here, come to me. Oh, you're her.
Yeah, because an elven servant who's got a staff on her back and it's not dressed like one is definitely supposed to be cleaning up around here. Makes sense, Thran.
What did you mean when you mentioned requisitions?
I'm making this Inquisition run with what we have.
I'm not going to be talking. I don't really know a lot about Thran, so I can't make a massive decision on her character. Though I do know that she used to be a part of Tyrn Logain's like forces when he was at Ostagar and he made the infamous betrayal. That's all I know about her. I don't really talk to her. It's the same with I don't really know I don't know anything about the apothecary, I can't remember his name, or Harriet the blacksmith. I know nothing about either of them, and to be honest, I don't really. Darn, that's one. I was going to say that, but it kind of, for me, it kind of sounds similar to what the Canari's name is, Adan, whatever. And honestly, as I said, I'm not really interested in their characters, Adan and Harriet and Thran, just because I find the companions a lot more interesting.
Is there anything I can do to help out?
We're fine as far as raw labor goes. You've more important things
That's
to do than tend to me.
pretty much it. Like, Varric's far more interesting. Well, Varric might not be... Okay, Varric might not be interesting like some of the other companions are, but Varric's hilarious. I love Varric. You'll probably see me use Varric a lot because I like to run a sort of a varied team. Patient observations, day 2. Pulse normal, breathing normal, still unresponsive. Careful drop, feed of prep. Alpha extract to hasten her recovery. A lot of thrashing. Mutters about too many eyes. Something about the grey. Encouraging? Yeah, so that's Adan keeping, like, I guess tabs on us, really. Give me that. Don't really need that. Actually, no, I could use that because... for Solus. 5 damage. 2 fire damage ones, but still. Might as well sort their equipment out. There's the brilliant staff. And it gives them +3 magic. Pretty good. I'm going to give you that apprentice coat because I get something for it later. Varric, you can use the stone... Is it stone barrel? Yeah. Look, I swear Varric looks really like he suits that a lot. And then Cassandra is getting... Where is it? The Shokratar. Because it's got the most defense and it gives her melee defense and range defense. Don't worry, Silas, I'm going to talk to you later. I've actually forgotten where I was. I was talking about Varric. Yeah, I'm going to be in Varric a lot because I bring a varied team, being like one rogue, and I won't need to bring a mage, so because I am the mage. I am the mage. Then either and then 2 warriors. So because you get okay, so the side note, the tavern song that's playing right now, Empress of Fire, is probably my favourite tavern song in the game. I don't know why, I just love how it sounds and the tune and everything's really good. Let's talk to Felisa.
Can I get you anything?
What if I Haven?
Can you tell me about this area?
Hang on, excuse me. Oh, I do apologise, guys.
Whatever you can make, you friend the quartermaster can probably find. And for anything fancier, you can try buying from Segret. His prices aren't too high. Yes?
Oh,
There's also my name.
Segret has nothing I need right now.
And things.
Segret's a merchant, again, don't talk to him. I barely even, like, I just walk past him and I don't even register him at times. Because I never use the... Oh. What was it? The merchant's place in Haven. Patient observations, day 3. Less thrashing, some response to stimulus, vital seems solid. 2 attempts so far by locals to break into the chantry to kill my patient. All this work to save her life, and will they just execute her? I'm informed Lady Cassandra, I expect her to wait before the morn. Cool. So yeah, that's my team. Who else? Cassandra is really Cassandra I find interesting because she's got that whole seeker thing, and she's also got a whole like family issues as well and stuff. Which is, I guess, cool. And then like her personal quest is really good because you actually get to see her display like quite a bit of emotion during it. Solus is cool. I like Solus because he's got a lot of wisdom, and like from his journeys into the Fade, and knows a lot about magic, and that's really cool. Plus it's really easy to, oh my god, take that. I'll take that. Take that as well. Might as well take all of that. I swear these are like the stuff you get in these like the stuff around here, it seems randomly generated. Give me that. I don't need that because I ain't getting a dagger wielding rogue for a long time, not until like part 2 practically. Oops, sorry about the mic bump, guys. Who else? You guys probably know the companions. Oh, here we go. Before I get back into the other ones, the Golden Nug statue you guys probably know. Synchronized collectibles, and I literally have every single schematic, bed and drapery, like all the decoration stuff I need for that I've collected over the games, or like the complete playthroughs I've done. I'm not going to be forging any weapons or armor up until like the second half of the game, simply because of you can actually make this game relatively easy at the beginning of the game, because there was a armor that I like the look of. I'll show you it after I talk to Harriet for a second. Yes, you need a lot of resources to make it, but both of them, like, well, mainly the armor, not really the weapon. Literally, I had just forged it, and I was still in the hinterlands. I managed to forge it, and I had 205 armor defense. And at that point in the game, wait, 200, yeah, if you think about it this way, 205 armor defense is basically near end game level, or like sort of mid to end game level armor defense at the beginning part of the game. Let me show you what I mean. So this light armor, the skin that stalks, right? See this armor? This was the one I made. Wait for the texture to pop in. I like the look of it. It looks really cool. I love it. So I don't know if you've got it here. So the cotton and samite are basic materials that you can easily get. 205 armor defense right off the bat. That is, as I say, late mid game to early sort of end game level armor rating, and you are basically a solid tank during like a solid tank, and you're a mage that can use that. And the weapon I made was the lyrium staff that I believe had like 100 something, yeah, like 102 DPS, which again is like sort of second part mid game level stuff that you're using in the early game. So yeah, forging is pretty broken even if you use basic stuff like in the early part of the game. Did I get this chest? No, I didn't. What's in here? Wait, it's dagger. Okay. Not going to talk to Lysette. Again, I just tend to talk to companions because I find them vastly more interesting. Lysette is probably more of one of the more interesting non-companions because she's a Templar that has left the Order like Cullen did to be with the Inquisition. And I know Cullen's not a companion, but his whole like arc, because he was in Origins, and 2, and obviously Inquisition. His whole arc from Origins, where he was a Templar, and him being like basically attacked and like forced to watch his friends die in the Ferelden Circle Tower. The demons broke his mind, and his massive hatred towards mages. Like, if you think people are like all like distrust mages, no, Cullen literally, I believe it was, he wanted like mages killed. Like every mage either put under heavy restriction, or like ones that just acted out, killed on the spot. Like, didn't want them around, or if they were around, like they couldn't do anything without a Templar saying so, kind of thing. And then 2, he's very much the same. I believe he actually says mages. I think he actually says to Hawk, mages aren't like you and I. They're not real people. But in Inquisition, you can see how wrong. Like towards the end of 2, and then like in Inquisition, you can see how wrong he feels about what he said and how he's treated mages. And it's why I like romancing Cullen as like a female mage, because it's kind of a poetic, like, full circle of his story, which is really nice. So I'm just going to deliver this requisition, and then we'll talk to Solus and then Varric. Liliana's interesting because she's been throughout the whole series again. She was in Origins. She was actually a companion in Origins, and then I believe she shows up in 2, or she's at least referenced in 2. And then Inquisition, she's there. She's our basically spy master. I think Cassandra will tell us that.
You're back, and in one piece.
Get Taja's notes. Josephine's out of the 3 advisors, Cullen, Liliana, and Josephine. I do find Josephine to be probably the least interesting, but she is like. She's like the diplomat of the Inquisition, and if you romance her, she's got the kind of she's got like the interesting sort of subplot where she gets basically forcibly engaged, and you have to try and get the engagement off, kind of thing. And then there's the whole attempt on her life kind of stuff, but that doesn't come until part 2. So Josephine has like the groundwork of of an interesting character, but if you compare her to Cullen, Liliana, like both of her like other advisors, she's not as interesting, and certainly not. To me, she's not as interesting as Solus. Definitely not as interesting as Ironball, because of what Ironball can like is, and like what happens with his personal quest. Cole's very interesting. I don't really talk to Cole because, if I'm going to be honest, I actually kind of forget Cole's there at times. Dorian brings a very interesting perspective to the Inquisition, being a mage from Tevinter, and Tevinter's like heavily scrutinized. Who else? Vivian, while I don't like Vivian, and spoiler alert, not recruiting Vivian in this Let's Play,
both attract spirits.
Vivian's like really interesting because of whole like viewpoint on, she believes mages should she sort of agrees and disagrees with what Fiona says. With Vivian wants mages to have more freedom, but believes like circle towers are still necessary and Templars are still necessary.
I've never heard of anyone going so far into the faith.
So, and she's all of that stuff.
Thank you. It's not a common
The reason I'm not going to recruit her, because she leaves a horrible, to me she leaves a very, very horrible first impression. And for characters, I mean, most of the time I am all about first impressions, as I guess most people are, and she does leave a horrible first impression, to the point where it's like, you may be a really well-written character, and I've seen that you are a well-written character, but I don't like you, so I'm not gonna like use you, and I'm not gonna recruit you. Who else? Blackwall is really interesting. I find Blackwall very interesting. I say this about every character, because there are interesting aspects of every character in the game.
Closing the breach is our primary goal.
There's because Blackwall's whole thing of him, of like being a Grey Warden, like
You don't think whatever created the
does bring another interesting aspect of like there's a massive like it's not a blight, but there's a big like deal in the world why the Grey Warden's not helping, I guess. Who else? And Sarah's kind of like, and Sarah also gives an interesting viewpoint of, Sarah has like, she's got no title, no land, no nothing like that, she's not a noble, anything like that. She's basically the viewpoint of, I guess, the common man. Which is interesting. I still like need to like warm up to Sarah because she does irritate me at times.
Yes, I am.
There's what else?
You use that phrase so casually.
And it's interesting. I don't remember doing Sarah's personal quest though, so I can't speak on that.
Oh, but you know the truth, right?
At the moment, Selena and Solas are having an argument about what it means to be an elf, a true elf.
Irabellis, Haren. If the Dalish have done you a disservice, I would make that right. What course would you set for them that is
What other
better than what they know
characters?
now?
You are right, of course. The fault is mine.
But I mean,
Expecting what the Dalish could never
I'd say out of like all the characters that have an impact on the story, I will say Josephine does feel like the
I'd like to
least
know more about the elves from before our time.
interesting to me, but she's still got groundworks for an interesting character, as I said. Varric is probably like, out of all the companions, probably the least interesting, but you've kind of got to know him through 2 and Inquisition. But Varric still has some interesting like relationships, like his relationship with Hawk, Bianca, the Dwarven Merchants Guild, his family, Bianca's family. Like there are some there's some good stuff about Varric and his whole author thing and all that stuff. Like Varric's got some good like groundwork like Josephine. I think it's more solidified than Josephine's, but that's just me. Just trying to think of other stuff.
Are all Dalish elves like my clan?
I will say there I've actually just forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I will headcanons. The stuff like not. I won't go too into detail with it. There are like some. There's only like one big one that you'll notice for Selena, or 2 actually. One of them is going to be massively controversial, and the other one not so much. I guess the other one's like is, in my opinion, pretty cool. It's the headcanon is that when you get the specializations for the Inquisitor, so like for being a mage, either being a Rift Mage, forgotten it. Is it Warrior Enchanter or something like that? I know it's Rift Mage, Necromancer, and I think it is like Warrior Enchanter or something like that. One that lets you use like magic melee weapons. I'm probably going to go Rift Mage, and I believe, like, fun fact for the Necromancer is I believe it was actually supposed to be like I think it was actually supposed to be blood magic, or like something like that. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. If it's not, like, feel free to correct me in the comments. I think it was supposed to be something like that, but they kind of didn't do that, because in 2 you could actually be a blood mage, and blood mages are very frowned upon.
I'd be interested in learning more about blood magic.
I would teach you if I knew it. Unfortunately, using blood magic seems to make it more difficult to enter the Fade. You understand why I never bothered to learn it. A shame, as it is extremely powerful, provided it remains a tool, not a crutch, nor a passion.
Yeah, so
We'll talk later.
basically blood magic is very think of blood magic like the I think the best way to describe it is, if you guys listening know
about the
like,
breach.
if you guys watch Star Wars or know stuff about Star Wars, like the two sides of the Force, the light and the dark side, think of blood magic in like a brief like summary as the dark side of the Force. Extremely powerful and an extremely quick way to get that power, but you can easily fall under the trappings of like you want to use it more because it's very powerful and that kind of stuff. So it's basically the dark side of magic. It's the easiest way to explain it. There's what other stuff? I'm just trying to think of other stuff to talk about.
It sounds like it would be wonderful.
And dangerous.
Oh, I was going on to headcanons before Solo started talking about blood magic. So yeah, the specializations. I'm going for Rift Mage, and when that happens, I'll do it off screen, but you'll see that Selena's eyes will change color. I'll tell you that Selena's eyes are going to change color from green to like sort of a bright green to a dark red to like a bright red color, and the reason for that is my headcanon is elven mages, they'll have like standard eye color, so like blue, some will be green, like hazel, dark brown, those kind of like normal eye colors basically. But when a mage becomes like more powerful, their eye color begins to change to red. Like it will be a dark red if they're like above average power, but the more powerful they are, the brighter the red color is. And this the last one, I guess, is sort of like supposed to be almost fact, but I still think it as a headcanon is god-like characters, so people like Morrigan and Flemeth have like yellow coloured eyes, and I think that's a sign of like them being like, I guess, almost godlike. And I guess it kind of does fall under headcanon because when we meet everyone knows about Solus's thing, but Solus, for who he's supposed to be, he doesn't have yellow eyes. When he unlocks his, or when he reawakens to his full power, he doesn't have those eyes. So I guess that still falls under headcanon. But okay, big spoiler. Do I want to say it? You guys probably know what I'm leading on to, so I'm not going to say it.
I gather you didn't spend your entire life dreaming.
No.
What else?
Eventually, I was unable to find new areas in the Fade.
So romance options. Being an elven like character, female elven character, you get access to the most romances in the game. The only ones you can't romance as an elven like character are Cassandra and Dorian, because they're male exclusive. Everyone else you can, so that's Solus, who's actually a female elf only, Cullen, Josephine, Iron Bull, Blackwall, and Sarah. Is there another? I think that's 6. Yeah, that's 6. Oh, and I guess Scout Harding if you want to, possibly. No, I think Scout Harding's male only. So yeah, that's 6 characters. See, that's a flirty option, but we're not doing that because I'm not romancing Solus. Sorry for all you Solar Velen fans out there. I'm not doing that. However, I am doing it offline with another, obviously with another elven. This one's the one I'm doing offline is an elven archer, so I am romancing Solus there. Hang on. Well, excuse me. So, who am I romancing? I'm romancing Cullen, because this is my canon Let's Play, and in my canon, Llewellyn does, or Selena romances
Cullen. Be interesting to hear what it's really like.
That's just it. In the Fade, I see reflections created by spirits who react to the
I just love the subtle, like with the wind, like you can see Solus is like the back flap of his shirt is like flying over the wind. It's just the nice touches, the little things. I like it.
And
you can't tell which is real.
It is the Fade. They are all real.
So I want to tell you guys something funny if you guys don't know. So Iron Bull is a romance. He's a buy option, like one of 2 buy options in the game. The other being Josephine. If you like, and if you romance Bull as a human, elf, or a dwarf, it's even finer if it's a dwarf. When you do like the kissing scene and stuff, I'll only show it off once, don't worry about it, I'm not going to constantly do it. They actually enlarge, like their scale, like actually their model like increases in size so they're the same size as Bull, and then shrink again when the scene ends. It's so funny if you're a dwarf, because Canary, I believe, are supposed to be like giant, so like I think it's between like 7 and 8 feet tall or some shit like that, like maybe even taller, some of them are, and the dwarfs are like dwarfs, so they're like what, 3 foot tall or some shit, between 3 and 4 feet tall, I believe, or something like that. So
I hadn't thought about it that way.
yeah, that's quite funny. I did that once as a female dwarf warrior, like sword and shield warrior, just because I thought it'd be funny.
We'll talk later.
And literally the dwarves barely have any like romance options, because if you're a dwarf female, you have 3 romance options, that being Josephine and Iron Bull or Blackwall. That's it.
So, now that
If and a male dwarf, you have,
I mean, you go from being the most wanted criminal,
I believe, I think it's Cassandra, Dorian, and Josephine and Iron Bull. So you got 4 there. I'm just glad to be alive.
I'm just glad I'm still standing after all that.
I still can't believe you survived Cassandra. You're lucky you were out cold for most of her frothing rage. For days now, we've been staring at the breach, watching demons and maker knows what fall out of it. Bad for morale would be an understatement.
There's...
I still can't believe anyone.
Let me have a look, because I'm pretty sure I got that right. Varric you can't romance, which sucks, because I really would like to romance him as like a female dwarf, but because I think the whole thing he's got going on with Bianca, that wasn't possible. Damn, that would have been good to do.
And now there's a hole in the sky. Even I can't walk away and just leave that to sort itself out.
I'm just looking up the chart now, because I think I'm getting most of it right. I know Solus is female elf only, and I know Cullen is female human or female elf only.
I've written enough tragedies to recognize where this is going.
And I know
I've seen that.
Josephine is by all race and Iron Bull is by all race. So yeah, Iron Bull is by all. Cullen is elf, female, elf, human, female elf or female human. Solus is female elf only. Josephine is by all. Sarah is female only for any race. Blackwall is female for any race only. Cassandra is male any race, and Dorian is male any race. Okay, so I was getting it right. I just needed to make sure, you know.
In the book, you say that
I've never done Dorian. Not because I don't like Dorian. I do like Dorian. I just don't see him in that way, you know.
There's no way Hawk really could have killed the Arashok.
I tend to own. I know you can do like any character with Bull, but I tend to do them with a female Canary, like because I kind of like that. Never done Blackwall's one, though I have been interested in it. Never really done Cassandra's one, just because she doesn't strike me romantically, I guess would be the better word to say it. What's the other one? Who else haven't I done? Sarah's, just because it's Sarah, I don't have that attachment to her. Vivian, you can't even romance no matter how hard you try. Same with Liliana, which that annoys me, because I was talking to my friend about it about a few days ago, and well, when this was recorded a few days ago, and I said to him that if you didn't romance Liliana in Origins, then she should be a romance option in Inquisition, because if she was, I would have done Liliana in a fucking heartbeat. Like, I'm not even joking. If Liliana was a romance option, it was an available romance option in Inquisition. If you didn't romance her in Origins, I would have romanced her in a heartbeat. Like, that's not even a joke. Liliana would be my canon romance if you could in Inquisition.
Are you from Ferelden, Orlais?
But hey, life is life, as they say. Who else haven't I done? I think that's it for the ones I haven't done. No, Solas I haven't done, but I'm in the process of doing, so I can tick Solas off the list.
You're a merchant?
My family has a seat in the Dwarven Merchants Guild. Merchants buy and sell goods. Businessmen.
Who else? I think that's it, actually. Yeah, that's all of them. And I can't speak for like romances in Origins and Dragon Age 2 because I haven't finished the game, any of them. I haven't finished both the games, so I can't speak on the companions there, nor can I speak on the romance between them. I've seen them on YouTube, but there's a difference between like watching it on YouTube and experiencing it for yourself. So yeah.
You're an author. What kind of books have you written?
So same with games, really. I don't tend to watch let's plays of games unless it's games I've played, which I guess it seems, but I think it's because I've experienced the game myself, so I kind of know it. So yeah, that's really it.
What sort of shops do you own?
Actually, we don't own
Other things. Just trying to think of other stuff to talk about. I guess I could get into the nitpicks that I have with Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, I guess the combat does get a bit bland after a while, because hey, you're literally just standing in one place, holding down, like in my case being on the PlayStation, the R2 button until things disappear, and occasionally pressing either square, triangle, circle. Yeah, square, triangle, or circle, or R1. So that does get boring, but hey, at least it's not, in my opinion, at least it's not Origins' combat, which is archaic, I guess. It's, maybe not archaic, it's very old, very like old, like original, like sort of, I guess maybe like original Xbox level, not level, original Xbox kind of RPG system, where you stand in one place, tap one button to attack, and then you can use your spell, like your abilities and stuff. I will say though, at least it's no Knights of the Old Republic. At least it's no Knights of the Old Republic combat system. If we want to talk about an archaic like relic of the past, terrible combat system. Like if you're judging it by today's standards, Knights of the Old Republic's combat system is atrocious. It's so bad. The story makes up for it though. Like the story in Knights of the Old Republic and the characters more than make up for it. Especially that fucking killer droid in the Knights of the Old Republic one. It's so funny. And if anyone is wondering, I do plan, if I can, I do plan on Let's Playing Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. But it's only when I get the resources to be able to do it. And that should be a lot of fun. Considering Knights of the Old Republic was made on the original Xbox, so it's not going to look pretty, shall we say.
How did the Red Lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
So there's that. There's a lot of games I plan on Let's Playing in the future. Like I do plan on Let's Playing Origins and 2 just so I can complete the Dragon Age thing. I plan on Let's Playing the Mass Effect trilogy, not Andromeda, because I will get extremely bored of Andromeda very quickly, because the story's kind of bland, most of the characters are really bland, the villain's bland, it's just a bland game. Is good old Andromeda? Okay, I lied. We're at least getting to the hinterlands, but we're not going to start the hinterlands. We're going to get there, but we're not going to do anything there. But there's a difference in the trilogy because I love the trilogy. I love the characters in the trilogy.
It stopped spreading,
so that's going to be fun.
We take our victories where we can.
What's
important is that your mark is now stable, as is the breach. You've given us time, and Solas believes a second attempt might succeed.
Yeah, there are definitely other games I plan on Let's Playing. Some I don't want to tell you because I like keeping some of them a secret.
That is not.
But there you go. There are like, what?
What harm could there be in
there are some games I plan on Let's Playing, like as I say, the KOTOR series 1 and 2. Possibly, I don't know yet. That's up in the air for Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2.
You've met Commander Cullen, leader of the Inquisition's forces.
Leader of the Inquisition's forces, and your future husband.
This is Lady Josephine Montelier, our ambassador and chief diplomat.
Yep.
Anderan Atishan. You speak Elven.
You just heard the entirety of it.
I like just move on from what I was saying quickly. I like that Josephine has different dialogues depending on like the race you play. Like if you're human, she just greets you normally, and I think she greets you normally if you're a dwarf. But as you see with an elf, she said Andaran Atishan, which I don't know what it means. If you guys know what it means, let me know in the comments. Because it'd be nice. But if you're a Canary, she goes, I think she says, you're taller than I had heard, which, when I first heard it, reminded me of a scene in the third Star Wars film of the prequels, Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan, Anakin and Chancellor Palpatine had been taken, I guess they'd been like kind of like taken hostage, like I've been arrested by, it's kind of hard, cuffed is the best word to, I guess, can describe it, cuffed by the droids and taken to General Grievous, where Grievous is talking and then Anakin goes, General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected. That was the first thing that came to mind when Josephine says that. Don't know why, but there you go. Kind of expected the Canary to go, Adar to go, you humans are shorter than I had expected. Then again, the Canary character did work in a mercenary band, which I think was mostly Canary, but I think had some humans.
Everyone is talking about you.
It's quite the title, isn't it? How do you feel about that?
It's unnerving. because I don't believe in Andraste.
A little unsettling.
Or Selene doesn't.
I'm sure the Chantry would agree.
People are desperate for a sign of hope. For some, you're that sign. And to others, a symbol of everything that's gone wrong.
Why am I not?
Let's be honest, they would have censored us no matter
So
what.
yeah, as I going back onto like the Let's Play games, I said I'll probably, like as I say, probably Let's Play Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. That's a possibility. It might not happen. See how I feel. Mass Effect is what I'm definitely Let's Playing.
I'll see what she has to say. You will find Mother Giselle tending to the wound.
Because I love Mass Effect.
Look for other opportunities to expand the Inquisition's
Great trilogy, great characters, great story. The ending, we'll not talk about the ending.
In the meantime, let's think
And
of
obviously there are other JRPGs I tend on Let's Playing. I want to Let's Play as well. Like as you guys know, I'm in the middle of Chescode, well, at the beginning of Chescode 02, and yes, I plan to Let's Play 3 and 4 when it finally like releases, like in the western part of the world. Let's go. The battle system in this game sucks. Everyone knows that. But there's an exploit that we'll be doing. I won't like show on screen because it'd literally just be literally be an episode of me running back and forth between a stand and me duplicating items, selling them. That'd be an entire episode, which is boring. So I'll do all that shit off screen when we get there. What other games I play on it? There are like quite a few. I know my Persona 5 Royal Let's Play says it's cancelled. I guess it's more on hold. I guess is the better word to describe it. Because Persona 5 Royal, I want to do the third semester, and I can't record it right now because, as you guys know, I record this right off my PS4, and I can't do that. So there's that. That's unfortunate, but what can we do? So yeah, it's on hold, basically cancelled until I can. Trying to think of other ones I want to Let's Play. I mean, there's bound to be there's going to be games out in the future that I want to Let's Play, so there's that. I might actually want to Let's Play the Witcher series, but I don't know, because I know I definitely want to Let's Play. It's just whether Witcher's definitely not a YouTube friendly game. That's putting it mildly.
Everyone has.
The other Witcher series, isn't it?
You know what you did at the breach.
It's the same reason I'm not. I feel comfortable with, well, my friend like basically made me feel comfortable with Let's Playing Inquisition. It's kind of like why I'm not. I won't play. I have The Witcher 3, obviously, and it would be an interesting Let's Play, but I'm starting in the third game. And it's a very like connected like Witcher 1, which you can only play on the on PC, and then Witcher 2, and then obviously the Witcher 3. That's the whole can of worms, whole can of worms. So I might get around to Let's Playing The Witcher in the future.
Maker only knows if he's even still alive.
There's that. I mean, I don't want to give you guys too much Let's Playing because I want to keep you guys in like a surprise of, oh, he's Let's Playing this game. I wonder what that's going to be like, kind of thing. So as we do the level ups for Cassandra, Varric, and Solus, that's going to be the end of today's episode. So, for a quick recap, we just went around Haven. We got like a brief idea of what Solus and Varric's characters like. We got to meet Haven's best and brightest. We learned about requisitions, potions, and blacksmithing. And now we're in the hinterlands, which is going to be tedious, I'll tell you that much. I'm not going to show too much of the hinterlands. I'll show like some of the stuff I do, but not all of it. And yeah, that should be fun. So if you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit that like button. If you are enjoying our not Chosen Cold Steel 2, if you're enjoying our Dragon Age Inquisition Let's Play, make sure to subscribe as well. Also, please be sure to check out my Chosen Cold Steel 2 Let's Play, where we're about to head into Gorelia Fortress, which should be a lot of fun. Also, if you guys are a fan of JRPGs, or just RPGs in general, make sure to subscribe as well, because hey, that's what I do here. I say it's in every episode, I have a project in the work lined up, so hopefully when it drops, I can get it out and get it recorded for you guys and get it out, because I'm really excited for it. But if I can't, I got projects, so I got backup plans, so don't worry, you've always got you. But with all that PSA out of the way, this is xdeadlysmoorex, and I shall see you guys next time.